Welcome to our Wednesday webinar, where we will showcase adding the Accessibility Plus Toolkit block and navigating it in Moodle ISU. My name is Kim Tompkinson, and with me today are Mark Cooper, Sasha Johnson, Paul Lynch, and Ryan Randall. So to get us started, Mark is going to tell us what the Accessibility Plus Toolkit is and what it is used for.
The Accessibility Toolkit is a powerful tool that you can use with Moodle ISU. And with the Accessibility Toolkit, you can improve Moodle ISU course content and accessibility for your students. And this gives you control over the accessibility of the content in your course. You can also identify accessibility issues within the course and correct them. So you could run an analysis to get a report of the accessibility issues in your course. And then you could use a variety of wizards, and we're going to talk about those later, to conveniently and easily correct these issues. You can identify activities with the most accessibility issues so that you gain a better understanding of the recurring accessibility issues that you run within your course content. The toolkit gives you the ability to use reporting in the Accessibility Toolkit for accessibility data analytics, which you can find these errors and see the trends. And finally, you could provide your students with alternative accessible document formats. And if you want to learn more about this, you can view a video called Requesting File Conversion. That's in the ITRC video library on YouTube. And next, Ryan is going to talk about why you should use the Accessibility Toolkit in your course.
Great, thanks, Mark. Why is the Accessibility Plus Toolkit important? You might notice that I abbreviated accessibility there. You might see that elsewhere. So the first reason is accessibility is the right thing to do. It helps make your class resources accessible for all learners. And the toolkit helps you do so without needing advanced experience. Also, it helps you and your course comply with ISU's EIT, accessibility policy. That's electronic and information technology policy. I've just added a link to that in the chat as well. But you could always go to the Disability Services website to find it again that way. Compliance isn't my preferred frame, so I'd like to reiterate that making your course as accessible as possible is part of creating an inclusive learning environment for learners. It helps all of the learners in your course know that they are valued. And at least as important, it also helps learners immediately begin engaging with the material in your course. Learners won't have to spend undue time and effort advocating for access just to get to what's effectively your course's starting line. And others in the class will also benefit. So much like how curb cuts and ramps are designed for people who use wheelchairs, but parents who push strollers absolutely appreciate them, accessible design brings benefits beyond its target population. And from another perspective, the more that you design a course with accessibility in mind, the less you're going to have to do as the instructor for individual student accommodations or remediations. So the Accessibility Plus Toolkit not only informs you about those accessibility improvements, but also provides a range of tools to quickly implement those improvements. And Paul is about to tell you much more about some of the different ways you can include it.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. So I'm going to show you how this works in your Moodle course. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to access it. So in your course, what you're going to do is you're going to start by finding this edit toggle. It'll be in the upper right-hand part of your class. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle editing mode on. And right beneath me in my block panel, you'll see I'll have this option to add a block. So I'll go ahead and select that option. And in my pop-up, I want to find the Accessibility Plus Toolkit option. So I'm going to go ahead and select on that. And when I do that, it'll add that Accessibility Plus Toolkit block into my block drawer. So we can see it's this third block right here. So what it's saying is this course has not yet been submitted to analysis by the Accessibility Plus Toolkit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press the Submit for Analysis button. Now, depending on the size of your course, that'll dictate how long it takes for the analysis to be complete. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and press my Submit for Analysis button. And we can see once I've done that, I get this notification. The course has been scheduled for analysis. What I'm going to do is, to save us a minute, I have another course prepared to show us what it's going to look like once an analysis is complete. So you'll notice on the main part of our course, we have all these different boxes with these different colors. This is what we refer to as our heat map. So the heat map is not viewable by students, only faculty are able to view it. And what this does is it provides at-a-glance information about the different error counts, for example, that each activity may contain, or whether or not an activity passed the analysis. So just looking at the top of our screen, we see the welcome activity. We have this box over it, and we can see at the very bottom of the activity, we get this failed notification. And then right alongside that, we get an error count. So we can see for this particular activity, there's only one error count. If we look at the announcement activity below that, it has a green box around it. We get the notification that it has passed. And then if we look at the syllabus and course overview activity, we can see that has failed, and that has an error count of 88. If we go back to our block drawer to the Accessibility Plus Toolkit, you'll see we have quite a bit more information than before we submitted our analysis. In this first column, we have the types of items that are analyzed. So we can see images, the layout, links, media, tables, and text are the types of items that are analyzed. Our middle column tells us the amount of errors that each of those item types has. And the last column, the third column, the guide. So if you wanted to get some quick information on how to make these items more accessible, what you can do is you can click on this paper icon, and you'll have a pop-up up here that will show you different accessibility tips for the item type that you select. And what you can do is, if this is something you'd like to have a hard copy of, or you'd like to convert it to a PDF, you do have this print option at the bottom right side of the box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cancel this to close the box. At the bottom of our Accessibility Plus Toolkit block, we have three icons. First, we have this eyeball icon. And what we can do is we can use this to hide our heat map. If we want to turn it back on, all we have to do is press that icon one more time. So we can use that to toggle that heat map on or off. If we wanted to view the Accessibility Plus report, what we can do is we can click on this middle graph icon, and I'm going to come back to that in just one moment. And we have this third download icon. So if we wanted to download the Accessibility Plus report, we could do that directly from the block. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to this graph icon, and I'm going to go into the Accessibility Plus report. And what I want to do is I just want to highlight a few different parts of this report. There is a lot of information contained in it. So I just kind of want to give a highlight of what this report has to offer. So in our overview summary, what we first have is this contains links to go to different item reports. So we can see this go to reports column. We can click on any of those links to go to those reports. In the right column, we have a go to wizards. So the links to the wizards will help address any accessibility errors. So in this case, a wizard in the Accessibility Plus Toolkit will automatically fix those errors. Something I do want to note is not all errors can be fixed by the wizard. Some may require you to go in and manually address the errors. Next, I'm going to take us to our activity breakdown. And in the activity breakdown, you'll see that there's a chart that shows the different activities that are in the course and the pass-fail ratio for each activity type. Then the last thing I want to show us in our Accessibility Plus report is our checklist. So this is similar to the Accessibility Plus Toolkit block, but it contains much more information and a few more options. So what you can do is we can see we have access to our guides and errors, which we had in our block. What we get now is we can see the severity of each item type and the amount of errors. We also can view the errors for each of these items. And again, we do have access to the wizard. So if there are items that can be automatically fixed by the Accessibility Plus wizard, you'll see this wrench and you can select that to fix those. Now you may see some of these items don't have that wrench in them, and that indicates that those are items that may require a manual fix.
So then we'll move on to let Sasha tell us how to learn more about the Accessibility Plus Toolkit and other Moodle ISU tools.
We have a variety of ways for you to learn more about the Accessibility Plus Toolkit as well as Moodle ISU. You can use the QR code on this screen. The Tiger Tracks articles are a knowledge base of how-tos, and those are available 24/7. If you ever have questions, you can always navigate to the Tiger Tracks knowledge base and search for Accessibility Plus Toolkit. We also have a library of short walkthrough videos that are available in the ITRC video training library on YouTube. So those are also 24/7 on demand resources. We always welcome faculty to drop by the ITRC or meet with one of our staff. We are available via email at itrc@isu.edu, and that will come to all of the full-time staff members. And you can give us a call at extension 5880 if you are on campus, and that will take you to our front desk, who can get you to the first available full-time staff member if the person who answers the phone is unable to help. And then our front lab is also open for dropping in, and we're located in the basement of the Oboler Library, room B17. And then definitely be sure to join us when we have our more in-depth training on the Accessibility Plus Toolkit in September this month, later this month on the 29th. And we will also have one in November, and you can watch for those and other ITRC webinar announcements in ISU Today and the ISU events calendar.